Oh.
Uh-oh. It's like seeing behind the curtain.
Uh-oh. Take it out, Billy. It is Thursday, right? It's Thursday, right? Thursday, June 4th, 2020. Anno Domini? What is it? Is it Anno Domini or Anno Domini? Zach.
What now?
Can you hear me?
Am I muted? Did you mute me?
Oh my god, I
again?
muted myself, bro. This whole time, I was playing the intro music.
You muted yourself just in case.
And I muted myself to you. I didn't even... My mic's not on the intro, not on my intro scene. Only the audio is. So I usually mute you so that I can... You know... So I can play the music without you talking in the background. But you were just... I
was dancing.
Clanking around and shit. It is Thursday. It is 8 p.m. It's June 4th, 2000.
Wait, can we restart? I was just dancing like that.
Yeah. Hold on.
Erase that.
Here we go.
Don't put that on.
I'll put the music back on. Hold on. Welcome. Take him out, Billy. Take him out, Billy. It is Thursday. It's 8 p.m. I am Tim. That is Zach. This is Lore of the Things, the greatest. Wait. Who are you? You are watching the #1 rated podcast on twitch.tv in my delusions and in my daydreams. I want enough people
daydreams
to watch me to where they can call me out on stupid shit that I say and being really bad at hosting a show.
Woo!
Let's start that over again. Hold on. It is Thursday. It is 8 p.m. Actually, it's 8:26 p.m. It's June 4th, 2020. I am Tim. That is Zach. And you are here with us 30 minutes late every single time. Sometimes only 5 minutes late. Sometimes right on time. You are here with us. You're watching the #1 rated, the greatest, the world
latest.
champion, the latest podcast on twitch.tv. This is Lore of the Things.
The most hotly debated.
The most controversial, non-controversial podcast on Twitch.
Amen, brother.
Is right here in your face. This is Lore of the Things. And this is where we talk about things and stuff, nerdy and otherwise.
With a special guest this week, Her Royal Majesty, Queen Elizabeth. She's going to be here later on. Stay tuned.
We finally got her. We finally did it. I've been trying for a long time to get that old broad in here. That old dust bag in here. Am I allowed to say that?
You know, I called in a favor, so she's here. She'll be on in a little bit here.
Who'd you call in the favor from your good old buddy, the Duke of York?
No, little Chucky.
The Duke of Dork?
The Duke of Dork.
Because you're a
old
fucking
Chuck.
dork?
Prince Charles, I called in a favor. Told him, Chucky boy, I need a favor.
Prince Charles, more like Prince Albert, am I right?
I said,
like a dick piercing.
Chucky.
Chucky, the doll, the murderous doll.
The murderous doll, Prince Chuckle of Chuckleston. What do you got there? A little cereal?
How was your week? I'll ignore that. That didn't happen. I don't eat on stream, dude. It's unprofessional. What happened this week? I've been asleep the entire week.
The biggest.
I fell asleep right after the last show.
So
and I literally just woke up.
Really,
30 minutes.
You're gonna be excited. It's like really big right now.
Okay.
The biggest thing to happen this week so far is I got a haircut.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that.
It's looking fresh. Huh?
It was looking very Kramer before, and I was liking it.
It was uncontainable. I wake up in the morning, I had to slick it down.
So, I fell asleep after the show last week.
Yeah. Literally nothing has happened the whole time.
And I didn't wake up until about 30 minutes ago. So what's been going on?
You haven't missed anything. Well, it turns out the entire country is no longer avoiding a pandemic. Instead, they are rioting. A lot can happen in a week. A lot can happen.
So why are they doing that?
They're mad. They're angry. I think they canceled Friends again.
Oh my god, who cares?
Actually, they're angry because apparently cops can't stop killing black people.
Let me guess. Another black man died under the knee of a cop. Is that what happened?
That's right. Third time this week.
Third time today.
Third time since this show started.
Yeah, we were talking about it last week a little bit. Kind of proud of the people, man. I don't think they made this much of an uproar last time this happened.
Yeah, they made some noise. I think every time it happens, they make noise and
but no, it happens. It happens all the time.
Right.
What was the last big one though? Trayvon?
I don't see. That's the thing. That's the problem with this.
It happens all the time.
I don't even remember.
I mean, there was a guy a couple weeks ago who got shot by two white dudes, but it wasn't a cop.
Right.
That was Ahmaud Arbery. All on film. Chased him down. Called the police. Somebody said there was a suspect in the neighborhood. Father and son hunted him down, shot him dead.
Yeah. Well, I bet they're feeling pretty stupid right now.
Yeah, man. Old Don, he's ready to let loose the full force of the U.S. military on the people.
He was, he already has, in my opinion, abused his office by, okay, let's not get into what happened in the past, but just the other day, he was buzzing people with helicopters in D.C., with military helicopters, the same tactics they use in Afghanistan to disperse crowds.
Damn.
So that's pretty bold of him.
Was it outside the White House?
Yeah, they were like outside the White House.
There's literally protesters standing out there like every day.
I don't blame them.
I know. If I lived in D.C., I'd be like, oh, it's 2 o'clock, time to go protest.
Dude, they put a fence around it and stuff. It's starting to look like next they're going to put big walls up, big palisade.
Yeah, I mean, they have to turn it into a fortress.
Right, and then it's just going to be like, by the way, because of the turmoil, we can't have elections this year. What's a palisade? Is that the right word? I'm looking for another word. Palisade's like a car. Fact checking myself here.
That's Zuckerberg's job, man.
Fact check me. Battlements.
Which he isn't doing, by the way.
That's on top. Yeah, they did they censored 3 pictures, I think.
Yeah, what?
Total.
With this whole Twitter thing going on?
Yeah.
Zuckerberg is not censoring Trump stuff. And they had a company town hall meeting.
And they said, we're not doing it.
And they were like, yo, Zuck, why aren't you Zuck in the Don? And he was like, I don't think it needs to be done. He's scared.
Yeah, he probably is. They had him fucking shaking his boots up there in front of Congress.
The
Remember?
man that controls the biggest social media platform. Well, I don't know if it's the biggest in the world. I think it's the biggest in our country. It's bigger than
Facebook?
Yeah, it's bigger than Twitter in America, I think.
Yeah, it's the biggest in the world, I'm sure.
I don't know. Twitter's big.
Pretty sure Facebook is like bigger.
Well, I didn't want to make an assumption and then sound like an idiot.
Yeah, true.
Like I do every other Thursday.
Right.
Not every other Thursday, but every Thursday other than this Thursday. I don't want to sound like an idiot today.
That's in our contract.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at some site that I haven't source checked or anything, and it says Facebook's number one.
Oh, it's probably Facebook is the site you're looking at.
Followed by WhatsApp, then QQ.
WhatsApp? WhatsApp's not social networking.
Yeah, it is kind of. Everyone's on WhatsApp.
Yeah,
it's got a lot more now.
It's just texting.
No, it's got a lot more. You can post and shit, and you can update and.
Yeah, but you know who runs WhatsApp now?
Facebook.
Yeah.
But luckily, we've got QQ bringing up in third, which is owned by Tencent. Right after QQ. Both owned by Tencent.
Pretty much the only country that uses WeChat?
China.
And it's the fourth biggest, you said?
Big country. Fourth biggest. It's WeChat.
Not only are they a big country, but they got a lot of people. Tencent
owns QQ, WeChat, and Qzone, if I remember correctly.
Dude, I thought Tencent was just a gaming company, dude.
Dude, they own everything now. They have stake in everything. They own everything. They've collaborated with like the craziest.
So there are Amazon. Or they're China's Amazon.
Bigger. I don't know if they're bigger.
I doubt the CEO of Tencent is richer than Jeff Bezos.
No, maybe not. But I think like pound for pound, they might be doing better. I don't know.
Well, let's see. Amazon's got Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Twitch. They own like everything, dude.
Yeah, but
I'm waiting for one of these companies to just buy everyone else out.
They're going to.
Anyways, what I was talking about, Zuckerberg said to the people at the company town hall meeting, don't quote me on this, but he was pretty much like, It's like, That's all he said.
Don't quote you on that. So let's do a rundown real quick, because this is interesting. Tencent now owns full ownership of Riot Games, full ownership of
Tencent
Funcom.
owns Riot?
Riot. Oh yeah. Full ownership of Shark Mob, which is founded by ex-Ubisoft developers. 80% of Grinding Gears, which makes Path of Exile. 84% of Supercell. 40% of Epic Games.
Wait.
20% of Marvelous.
84% of Supercell?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a lot of money.
They're controlling. They control, Clash of Clans, Clash
Supercell
Royale,
is big,
Brawl Stars.
Dude. Angry Birds.
Yeah.
Dude, Brawl Stars is fun.
So, and they own 1.5% of Bluehole, 5% of Ubisoft
Wait,
France.
Bluehole's not a company anymore, is it?
Yeah.
I thought they changed their name or dissolved or something and became the PUBG Corporation.
They are formerly Bluehole Studio Inc., and now they're Bluehole Inc.
Oh.
And then they also own, let's see, Frontier Developments, 5% ownership in Activision. Activision Blizzard, excuse me, the parent company of Activision Blizzard and King. Paradox Interactive, 5% ownership. They're buying up like.
Yeah, you know the story about Activision and Blizzard? They both had like a parent company, but they weren't involved with each other. And they bought each other out.
Really?
Yeah. They each bought controlling stake in each other's companies.
In each other.
And then and merged.
Oh, okay.
To buy each other out from under whoever it was that owned them in the first place.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And they've been doing trash work ever
Vivendi? Is that what it was? Vivendi
that
Games?
That sounds familiar, yeah.
Oh, Sierra Entertainment.
Yeah.
You remember games with Sierra? Remember that little logo that would come up? That was cool. Counter-Strike was Sierra, wasn't it?
No, it was Valve.
But before it was with Valve. Well, no. Valve bought the mod. Oh, yeah, you're probably
Half-Life
right.
is Valve.
Yeah. I remember Sierra being involved, though.
So is Valve Steam?
Yeah.
And it's Steam Valve?
I think so.
This logo? I don't remember this logo anywhere.
You don't remember that? No, not that one. That was older. The gold one I remember seeing, but the one to the bottom left right now. That one was...
She's topless. This one?
Bottom left. Yeah, that one and the bottom left one.
This
with
one.
The black and white.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that ever.
Yeah, they published it. They published Counter-Strike back in the day. Sierra did.
Yeah, I don't recognize any of this stuff.
Really?
So, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Tencent.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a figure to tell you how much a company's worth or something?
Yeah, but it's kind of misleading sometimes. You can look at like their volume and trading prices and stuff like that.
Which stock? I'm looking at their
holdings.
Stock.
Let's see, Tencent, yeah, it's worth...
Total assets.
Their revenue in 2019, you could look at revenue.
953 billion Chinese yen.
That's their assets?
Yeah.
Ooh.
How much is that in dollars?
That's a metric crap ton. That's what they say.
Their equity is 465 billion Chinese yen.
Revenue for Amazon in 2019 was 280 billion, and for Tencent it was 1.6 billion euros. Is that right?
Dude.
No, that's Supercell. Hold on. 377. So 280 versus 377 billion.
Look at the
that's
stock.
in CY.
Tencent stock is 50.
Convert this for me.
Tencent stock is 55 USD. Amazon stock is 2460.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that much because like their revenue, Tencent is 53 billion and Amazon is 280 billion. In 2019. Because you have like splits and stuff on stock, and it's how much volume you're trading at. So if you have like 1 million stock worth 24 versus 1 billion stock for 53 or whatever it was, it's different, you know?
Okay. I don't know how to do that stuff works, man.
A stock is just like a little piece of paper that says how much of that company you own. So like each stock is like you own like 1/100th billionth of a company. So if they split it into smaller pieces, of course each piece is going to be cheaper.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why they're called.
It's like a delicious pizza. 10 cents. Yeah, that's it.
10 1/millionths of a stock, or of a.
They actually started. They started by selling radishes on the streets of Beijing, and they sold them for 10 cents a piece.
Oh, that's why they're called 10 cent.
Mm-hmm. True story.
Let me ask you about something. You know a lot about the world wars.
I heard about them.
Let's talk about
World at War. Good documentary.
Good Call of Duty game. Let's talk about. Oh, let's do a little history segment with Zach and see what's going on. Right?
Okay, what do we got?
We're gonna talk about Antifa.
Antifa. All right.
What do you know about Antifa?
Left-wing radicals, anti-fascists. They don't like fascism. I don't see how that could be a bad thing.
Well,
if I don't know, but I would say.
All right. Well, this is what I was going to ask you. I wasn't going to do a history with Zach section.
Yeah, it probably.
I was going to do.
With.
I wasn't going to do a history with Zach session. I was just going to ask you your opinion on Antifa, because obviously the Don's trying to get them declared a terrorist organization in the United States, or he might have already got it done. And
yeah,
I just wanted to ask your opinion on Antifa in general.
I mean, they are a terrorist organization, I think, in the sense that they're trying to provoke their adversaries through, like, extreme actions. But with that said...
So Antifa is domestic terrorists.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, that's the thing. I don't know what they have on the law books for terrorists right now.
Let's look up the definition of terrorism.
Well, I mean, by definition, Oxford
unlawful
Webster
use of
Dictionary.
Violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims.
I'd say that they are terrorists by that definition.
Kind of sounds like government, though.
Right, yeah. No, but the thing
hold on.
is...
The unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims.
Right, so they would say that it's not unlawful when the president does it. To quote Richard
because
Nixon.
they make the law.
To quote Richard Nixon.
To quote Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon.
It ain't illegal when I do it, homie.
It ain't illegal when I do it, because I am the law.
No, but the thing is, they do allow for some things. The president is allowed in some cases to basically have prosecution diverted while he holds office, because it's supposed to prevent certain things, you know, like him going to jail for jaywalking and stuff. But the whole thing is, he would argue that he's doing everything legal. You know, and that's why the government's always suing everybody.
I mean, by law, Antifa could be considered a terrorist organization.
I think, because don't they, you know, that's the thing. I don't know enough because, you know...
Well, I was reading about this today because I was like, what really is Antifa? Like, I know it's anti-fascist. Like, I only know from, like, the punk sort of hardcore side of things, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, these are people that punch Nazis.
Right.
And I'm like,
And if you punch
okay,
a
well,
Nazi,
I mean,
you're doing terrorism according to that definition, but you're allowed to punch Nazis in our social climate of today. You know what I mean?
yeah. You know, the kid with the glasses and the beard. Everybody's seen the picture online. He's doing a salute, and the dude punches him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay, but by definition of that
I mean, but that is assault.
dictionary definition,
right?
yeah, he's broken the law. But I mean, I guess you could say it's not for political reasons. It's for just because that dude is morally a fucking
So
backwards
I was reading
idiot.
about this today, and this is why I thought you would know more about it, because it's an anti-fascist political activist movement in the United States comprising of autonomous activist groups that aim to achieve their political objectives through the use of direct action rather than through policy reform. They engage in protest tactics such as digital activism and militancy, involving property damage, physical violence, and harassment against people who they identify as fascist, racist, or on the far right. They're anti-authoritarian, anti-capitalist.
Right.
So this like splits you in half, doesn't it?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I can get on board with that. No, I can get on board with that because...
Yeah, but you love capitalism.
No, I hate capitalism.
Yeah, but you...
I think it's horrible, but I think it's probably the best option we have. You know, somebody said that. It's like, yeah, I'd love to overthrow everything and go to like complete Stone Age so we can try again, but it's just not in the cards.
Well, I know you're at least anti-authoritarian. Taxation stuff. Don't tread on me.
Don't even look at me. Don't you fucking look at me.
Subscribe to a range of left-wing ideologies such as anarchism, communism, Marxism, social democracy, and socialism.
See, I can get on board with all of those, but the problem is you can't... Okay, look, if you're going to overthrow what you perceive as a fascist government to install something like communism or socialism, you can't do it. Because, well, you could, but it would be very difficult because you would have to kill everybody that had any sort of hand in anything that's currently going on.
All right, here is the history of it.
So it'd be too hard.
When Italian dictator Benito Mussolini consolidated power under his National Fascist Party in the mid-1920s, an oppositional anti-fascist movement surfaced both in Italy and countries such as the United States. Many anti-fascist
but that wasn't like Antifa. That wasn't what's going on now.
In the United States were anarchists, socialists, and syndicalist?
Syndicalist?
Immigrants from Italy. What's syndicalist? Syndicalism is a radical current in the labor movement that was most active in the early 20th century.
Didn't know that one.
Oh, it's the original, like, unionization, basically.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, I know a lot of the original unions in the 20s and things like that were communists. Most of them were communists or anarchists, like...
Yeah, communist leaning, yeah.
Ideologically, Antifa in the United States sees itself as the successor to anti-Nazi activists of the 30s.
Right, and the anti-Nazis of the 30s were the communists, because that's who the Nazis hated more than anybody, is the communists.
Modern Antifa politics can be traced to opposition to the infiltration of Britain's punk scene by white power skinheads in the 70s and 80s. So, modern Antifa actually came from the place that I know it from, which is punk.
Right. That makes sense.
There were skinhead punks, Nazi punks, neo-Nazis, and these dirty, smelly, mohawk-wearing, studded belt donned, ripped pants, squatting, punk house living heroes would beat the shit out of these guys all the time.
Right.
They loved it. They loved nothing more than beating the shit out of skinheads.
Yeah, well, that's really the most punk rock you can be, right?
What I want to know is why is punk music it was never really mainstream, you know what I mean? It was always kind of frowned upon by the general population. And,
yeah, it's a subculture for sure.
But so why is the counterculture so open to these ideas, this we all bleed red, like doesn't matter what color your skin is ideas, when the culture of most nations isn't or wasn't? Why is punk so accepting when it's a violent expression artistically of rage? And
well, they took it in two different ways, you know, like first of all, with the exception of a few peoples and areas, the world up until quite recently has been extremely prejudiced because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, we just came out of the time when you didn't have people that didn't look like you and your family living near you. I mean, immigration's always been a thing, but they were complaining about immigrants in Roman times. So we're finally to a point where I think we're evolving socially to where now we're like,
but is it rooted in economy though? Is this
I
is
think
this
the
hate
problems
for
with
people
the
that are
economy,
different than you rooted in the economy? Like, these people are coming to our country. We built this. No. This belongs to us.
No, that's a scapegoat. That's a justification for racism and bigotry. I think that what it comes from is...
what I want to know is, because I don't understand it. I mean, I always grew up, like, my brother's best friend was gay when I was growing up. He was around, and he...
You mean you?
Yeah. He was just a normal dude.
Yeah, they are actually. No. Surprisingly.
But that's why I've never been surprised by that, because I was a child and I didn't understand the concept of gay and straight and everything else. And
right, because it doesn't really fucking matter.
It doesn't.
That's what you realize at an early age.
So that was very good for me that he had boyfriends around, and he and my brother had girlfriends around, and I saw these teenage romances develop.
Was he a total slay job? Was he like a total banger? He was bringing home a different boyfriend every night?
No. Him
and your brother would compete? Like,
he was pretty dedicated to his boyfriends, I think. But the thing is, like, since I wasn't introduced to gayness as this stigma, and I wasn't and also I think this helped too, because I was a kid and I wouldn't have understood any other way. I would understand now, but he was a very like straight seeming gay guy.
Right.
So it normalized that. It normalized the idea for me from a young age that you can be gay and not be some weirdo. Like, you can be a normal person and be gay.
Right. It's not automatically a problem.
And as far as racism goes for me, like I don't think it went the same way, really.
Right.
Like my parents didn't really my parents were never racist, but they also didn't like
They weren't anti-racist.
I mean, not
That's how
actively.
most parents are. Yeah.
Um, so that never. I guess I developed those ideas on my own. That
Right.
people of color and other people like that are normal people as well as gay
Right.
people are normal people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is kind of strange because I grew up in the '90s and it wasn't the most progressive time. I mean, it was better than like the '60s.
Pretty.
But
Yeah, it was pretty progressive. But the rest of the world is should take heed to your words because we're pretty fucking progressive here in the States, even though it's still really bad.
even though it's not,
The rest of the world
it's not
is
reflected
still...
really in our politics and in a general population, but us, I mean, I grew up, it's a small town basically, and
Yeah.
I grew up here, and black people weren't weird, Mexican people weren't weird, gay people weren't weird to me ever.
Mm.
It was never like frowned upon for me.
Yeah.
And maybe I would be different now if it had been when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I would like to think that it wouldn't, because I would have developed my own thoughts and everything. But
no, unfortunately, most children inherit the thoughts and viewpoints of their parents, unless there's some sort of catalyst to go otherwise. Yeah. Like for you, if maybe your parents, hypothetically, they were completely anti-gay, they were homophobes, and then you met this gay guy and you're on your own, apart from your parents, and you're like, this guy isn't so bad. That would be a catalyst to start questioning.
Or if like I figured out that like I was attracted to men,
right?
And that would be. You would. I mean, I hear that that's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, but
super conservative parents. You figure out that you're attracted to the same sex. You hide it because you're ashamed of it, and then you see something in media or anything else because now it's the modern times and it's more accepted, and you realize that your parents are wrong. You know what I mean?
But it's so ingrained, and it's so like your parents are so influential that if you have a loving, caring relationship with your parents, and then you develop those feelings and it goes against your parents, there's fucking so many people out there right now that are suppressing their feelings and convincing themselves that they're not because of their beliefs, which you don't just get those.
All right, story time.
All right, let's do it.
I mean, I've been attracted to women pretty much as long as I can remember. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like, you're telling me.
I saw Britney Spears, and I was like, damn.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Yeah. I saw that video, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, the girls in my school don't look like this. You know what I mean? But 13, 14, adolescence, stuff starts to change. Stuff gets a little weird. You know what I mean? Maybe start getting a little bit more exploratory. I'm sitting there on my PSP one night. You know what I mean?
As one does. Thinking about Britney Spears.
And I'm using the browser on it. And this thing was so slow, dude.
Yeah.
I'm using the browser on it. I'm like... And I'm looking for, I'm 13, 14. I'm looking for some porn.
Of course.
Like, straight up, I'm looking for some porn.
Who isn't?
So I started getting a little exploratory, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, oh, let's see what these black chicks look like, you know what I mean?
It's the internet, baby.
I'm like, nice, this is good, You know what? You know what I'm going to look up? I'm going to look up some gay porn. So I go, and I'm like, let's see what this is all about, you know? Who knows?
Like, wait a minute.
Like, I forgot. There's a whole subgenre of porn that exists, and I'm not watching it. I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
So
yeah, by 14, you had already seen everything else. You're like, there's got to be something else.
It's like I've never eaten an avocado. It doesn't look right to me, but I
Right.
might like it. Maybe I should try an
You've
avocado.
heard you've heard that people enjoy these avocados.
Yeah, so maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll try one. Maybe I'll form my own opinion of this avocado. Right.
Right.
So I'm looking up some gay porn. It wasn't really for me, but I could see the appeal.
Yeah.
So I turn off my PSP, I go to bed, and do all that stuff. And the next day, my parents are looking through the history on my PSP, and they call me into the room. And they're like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And there's like, the search is like, black girl porn. Like, I'm not even looking up anything specific, dude.
The most 14-year-old search history of all time.
It's like black girl porn, gay porn.
Other porn ?
Yeah. And so I'm crying. I'm like, I'm sorry. They're shaming me for it. What is this? I can't believe this. Are you gay? Blah, 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 blah.
Oh my god.
I'm like, no, I'm not gay. It's just
You're like, I didn't even like it.
And so my mom calls my dad. My parents are divorced, by the way.
Right.
I mean, who's aren't?
Which was really the main reason you were looking up gay porn as a 14-year-old, obviously.
My dad decides he's gonna send me to a counselor.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It's like, I think you need to talk to somebody. So they're shaming the fuck out of me for this thing. You know what I mean? I didn't realize it at the time. But they're gay shaming the living hell out of me, and I'm straight.
You should have just gone with it at that point.
I'm like,
I'm gay, and I don't care who knows.
I almost did. I was just gonna be like, I'm gay now. Like,
right.
Rebellious teenager. Like, no, if you don't want me to be gay, guess what? I'm gay, bitches.
Let's
happening. fucking deal with it. You know what I mean?
Give me the girliest looking guy you can find.
No, I become the girliest looking guy you can find.
Right, there you go.
Even better. I had like one session with this counselor, and it was a Christian counseling program.
Of course, they're always counseling everybody.
My dad, dude, I cannot, and I still to this day cannot believe it. And the older I get, and the more progressive we get, and we get into like this SJW stuff and everything.
Right.
I cannot believe that my dad was trying to get me to pray the gay away, dude.
Oh yeah, that's the go-to.
I can't believe it. I can't.
That's the go-to. It's like, I mean, you got to think like they don't understand. They're from a different era. They're like, they had gay friends growing up that they didn't know were gay. That's had to be in the closet forever. So they see that and they're like,
yeah, I mean, even Elton John
we
got married.
We gotta fucking pray about this, man. No, that's a last resort type situation.
So yeah, I saw that counselor once, and I don't even remember what happened after that. I think me and him started a gay relationship together.
It went on for a decade.
And then like he got arrested because I was underage, and
it happens,
And we're married.
That's what happens when you try to pray the gay away.
But no, I think I had one session with him, and I think my dad asked me like, "Do you want to talk to this guy again?" And I was like, "No."
You're like, "Nope, not gay anymore."
No, I'm not gay.
Did he make you prove it? Was he like, "Now go look up that black girl porn and do your business in front of me"? You gotta fucking prove it to me.
So I think I'm like maybe 85 to 90% straight at least. Maybe a little less. I mean, I don't know. Tom Hardy.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Tom Hardy's looking pretty good. Most of the time.
I don't know. I didn't even know that existed for a long time. I came across it by accident. Probably watched like 20 minutes before I realized there was no girl in the room.
You're like, these guys are about to go to town on this chick.
I'm like, any minute
and they start kissing and shit, and you're like, okay, well, she's coming. She's coming.
They're just getting each other ready.
And she's gonna be a big boobed bimbo too.
Yeah, that's no, but by the time I like, I think they did a pretty good job of classifying it. But when you start clicking,
Yeah, you just go
anything can
crazy.
happen.
Especially those old
Anything can
sites that
happen.
we used to go on, man.
Man,
You never know
just
what you're
like
gonna find.
one click, you see everything you'll ever see in the world, and like just download 30 viruses, all in this super one click.
And it was so unregulated. Like,
Oh yeah.
I've seen some things, man. Some things that
Oh, believe me,
didn't need to see.
that what was much more prevalent, just like all over the internet, was bestiality was like everywhere. I
Yeah, and
remember just
like,
encountering that left and right.
it's like
Now we have Facebook, but it was just all that.
that was just the thing, dude. That was just the
Nothing
trend.
but. Maybe it was a trend. People are finally like, hey, we got these good cameras. Let's finally show off our stuff.
But so yeah, that's the story. I prayed the gay away, and it worked.
Pretty amazing. Yeah. Well, I mean, that guy, that counselor, your dad called that counselor and was like, I don't know what you said to him, but we got him.
We got him. Ladies and gentlemen, or just gentlemen, we got him.
Gentlemen, we got him. Yeah. Well, at least you didn't like do some movie bullshit like take you to a prostitute or something when you were 14 years old and
That would have been badass.
try to go the other direction. Yeah, but I mean, I think you probably would have a few more problems, a few more issues today.
Yeah, but I mean, I would have definitely enjoyed it at the time.
Right, yeah, that's true. You got off lucky, man. Real lucky.
But yeah, so I don't even remember what started this topic. The normalization of these things, I guess.
Yeah, just like the change.
So I was old enough
the
through
general population.
I was old enough through
like,
that experience, even though I wasn't angry. Like,
right.
if somebody tried to do that to me now, like, I'd be angry.
Yeah.
But I was old enough through that experience to realize, like, that it was not how you handle that situation.
Kind of fucked up.
And never really came about again. And then I mean, I started getting girlfriends and shit after that, so it was like, whatever. But they were like, "Oh, thank God."
Did you ever like tell them like, "Hey, look, that was a mistake"? Or to this day.
No, I told them later.
He's just like.
I told them later. I was just curious or whatever.
Oh.
But like my uncle, my uncle. Oh my God, dude! This guy is hilarious. This guy spent a few years in Joliet.
Yeah.
And got in with some white power crowds and stuff.
As one does.
As you do. I mean, you got to survive. You know what I
mean?
Right. So it's always funny because like my uncle, we called him a Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
And my stepdad's Jewish.
Right.
And like they're best friends. So like there's a lot of like a Nazi and a Jew walk into a bar jokes going on with that. But
yeah, I think that's pretty common. I think
he never really was like racist though. He was like
right. Just anti-Jew.
No, not even. Like, he just like had to survive when he was in prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to this day, he still makes fun of me for that. Like they told him, funny. And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you a big black dildo for your birthday." And
yeah, I found that's funny that I mean, obviously, you said he wasn't racist, but that sparks a thought that I've had for a long time. That because I've even had it happen. I'm not racist or homophobic or anything, but there's certain things I'm a bigot about, maybe. Just things I don't know. Like I might prejudge something. And I can't even think of a specific example, but I know.
No, give me some examples.
I don't know.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Like, okay, like rollerbladers, fruit booters.
Oh yeah, fuck fruit
right?
booters, dude.
Exactly. So I'm a skateboarder. I'll always be a skateboarder, even though I was never good. And I haven't been on a skateboard.
I was never good either.
But,
like I think I dropped in on a half pipe like once.
Right. Exactly.
I was terrified.
So, but fruit booters.
Oh, that's another thing. Like, see, now
fuck these guys.
So my brother's best friend that was gay.
Fruit booter.
He was an inline skater.
Of course.
And he was a really good one. So
right.
it also more so the normalizing gayness to me.
More importantly,
it normalized fruit booters to me.
Yeah, wow.
Because I saw him do some sick tricks on some rails at the Port Orange skate park. And I was like, well, this ain't for me, but this is lit.
That's like an example, you know? And then, like, you meet one. You don't just try to wreck them. You don't just try to wreck them at the skate park.
No, you try to wreck them.
You
just run them over.
No, but after trying to wreck them.
Because they can't kick their inline skates out.
They just fall. But then you actually talk to one, and you're like, you find yourself saying, like, oh, well, this one isn't so bad. And I think that happens across the board for the most part.
So you talk to the fruit booter, and the guy's like, yeah, you play StarCraft?
Right.
And you're like,
yeah,
holy shit.
Right. So I think if more people get out there and diversify their interactions with other real life human beings one-on-one,
people don't do that. And I think because of social media and because of what you follow on social media and you don't branch out.
Forget about it. No, it's crazy.
We're reverting as a culture. Because you go.
I mean, I see that too.
And say you're a bigot. Say you're totally anti-gay, right?
Right.
If you see like one of your friends posts like, "Oh, it's Gay Pride Month," like "Happy Gay Pride Month," I'm going to the parade. You're like, "Okay, unfriend."
Right.
And you
just break off any viewpoints from that person for the rest of.
And then all your stuff's listening to you and taking in all your cookies and your data and information, and they're spitting out. Right. They're spitting out far right ads at you, and you're like, "Yeah, dude, this is the shit."
Fox News.
And you
on link.
It just keeps you in your bubble.
Yeah, but think about this: it's still better than the alternative, where your bubble is literally your geographic, like space time, where you grew up, where you stay, where you work for the rest of your life. So you have people. It's less and less, but you still have people that are born in a town, grow up in that town, live, get married, work, die in that town. And they're not exposed to other people. Outsiders might be shunned, not in like a, the village type way, but like.
I mean, I'm halfway there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be 29.
Yeah, but this is cosmopolitan compared to like a little town in like.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Egypt, Georgia. So like the internet gives that, like there could be somebody right now that was born into a completely just backwards place where it's not even like they think about being racist. They're just racist by default, just because that's how they're raised. And I know in the Deep South there's still towns like that.
Oh yeah.
And they get on the internet and they think they just get exposed to other viewpoints. And that could have never happened 20 years ago to somebody like that, unless they hopped a train and went to New York or like LA or something, or San Francisco, and like met a bunch of people and had some sort of reason for going. So yes, it does like limit you, and it's a reverberation. Like it's a loop where you think one thing and you group up with people that think the same thing, and that's all you see. So it just strengthens your viewpoints, but also it exposes people, I think, to more and more now. So you can see things that you never would have even thought of seeing before.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because the people that are ignorant now, and this isn't to all of them because some people aren't, but I think a lot of them are willfully ignorant. They choose not to try.
Sure.
They choose not to try to understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But what I'm saying is, if you meet, or what I was saying is, if you put a person like that into a room one-on-one, with another person and just drop all, don't even observe them, they're probably going to connect as human beings. If they're able to, unless it's like they're just too far gone. But like even like that guy, that crazy guy, that the black guy that goes to Klan rallies.
Yeah.
That guy, if you watch, there's a documentary with him, and he's controversial. Some African Americans don't like him. They think he's pandering to racists and stuff. But if you watch him sit down, he talks to these white people and these white supremacists, and you can see their wheels turning. They're like, I don't hate you. I hate, like, the black people taking over. And he's like, but you're talking to me and we're friends. And he's like, yeah. But it's just like a thing. And you can see him like just struggling to come up with rationalizations for why this human connection is working. But they still are like, wait, no, I still hate black people, but not this one. You know?
It's like Christian
So I think what he's doing is kind of, yeah.
You ever seen that? Christian Scientists argue with evolutionists?
I've seen a couple things on YouTube.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Almost had me convinced. I'm like watching, I'm like,
hallelujah.
Nah.
No, I watched, just recently, I watched a flat earth conspiracy theorists argue with scientists.
Yeah, as like SpaceX is up there and they're like, oh man,
yeah.
Look at the curvature of the earth. It looks so beautiful from here.
No, they're like saying like, these people are from like MIT and they're from like, you know, all like universities all over the country and stuff. And these guys are really trying, man. They're trying to hold it together. But these conspiracy theorists are like, well, how do you explain this, and this? And he's like, just why would you question that? Like, that's science. They've been doing it for years. We've sent things into space. They're trying to be all like soft with them. But they're just like regurgitating things that they read online and stuff and just going off. It's kind of a tangent, but that's
the internet's a dangerous tool, man.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's
but
not...
they said the same thing about books, I'm sure, or like the radio.
No, and I'm not saying that it's making things worse,
right?
Because it's not. I mean, humankind has always been violent and ignorant and hated.
Haters gonna hate.
It's not them,
right?
I think it's definitely helping. I wish it would help a little bit faster, but it's helping.
I think we'll reach. I'm a firm believer in that we'll reach that Star Trek future, where the only worries we have is, you know, fucking.
I'm a believer
like trade treaties with the Vulcans and stuff.
I'm a believer that eventually the human race will just be like a light brown color.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think so.
It's taken longer than I thought, but I mean, we're gonna get there for sure.
Well, no, I don't think so. Actually, I think it's gonna be. It maybe will be at that point at one point, but I think eventually we will be under like cave dwelling, pale, translucent skin creatures of.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like in
machines.
in your dystopian futures and everything that you love to, you know, fantasize about.
Yeah.
We're all gonna be the same color. Like, we're all gonna have like similar eyes and noses and features and stuff. Because I mean, we're not gonna have distinct like regional look to us. It's gonna only be like genetic.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a while though. Because you take millions of years of separating people to cause the differences in humans now. And it's going to take another million years of even more mixing than we have going on right now. You know?
We're going to be gone.
I'd say
we're going to be gone.
Maybe in like 10 million years or so.
We'll be gone by then.
No, I don't think so. I think we'll be gone in the stars.
Something's going to happen in the next couple thousand, I think. few thousand, 100,000.
I don't know. As far as species go, it's not that long, But at the same time, things get extinct all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know, do we? Because
I don't think so.
we don't really know if there's any other beings out there that are self-aware. So there's no history there to study.
Well, interesting you should say that. You know who Fermi is?
No.
The Firmster, the Ferminator?
No.
Well, anyway, he's got a paradox that says basically we'll never find aliens. But here's the other thing, and I don't know if I've talked to you about this. Sometimes I get rambling about this. So there's two options. Either, there's a scenario, and then we're in either one of a phase. So we might not see any intelligent life because there's a barrier in evolution of life that is so difficult to cross to get from, like, say, where we are now to interstellar space travel. There's some sort of barrier that's so difficult to cross that most life doesn't get past it. Whether it's probably, a good one for us to point out would be traveling faster than the speed of light, because interstellar space travel would be impossible without some sort of, not traveling at the speed of light, but bending space-time or something.
So now we're talking about hyperspace travel, like
hyperspace. So the question
we're talking about science fiction feeding.
Well,
fiction will see the real. You know what I mean?
The great thing about science fiction is it's based in science fact.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I'm saying, I give it like maybe 1,000 years, maybe not even before we can figure that out.
Well, no, but the question remains,
like the technological advances that we made only in the past 100 years are absolutely insane.
Big. They're big. But so
we're hitting a stride.
Are we past that hurdle? Are we before the hurdle or past the hurdle? So is the hurdle developing into multicell organisms? Because that's hard. Is the hurdle sentient beings? Is the hurdle light speed? Have we already passed that hurdle in life's development, or have we not got to it yet? Is it coming up, or have we already dealt with that? So,
well, I mean, there's too many factors as well, because it depends on the solar system you're in. It depends on the galaxy you're in. When's your star going to collapse and you're going to go extinct anyway? You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, obviously you got to get. It's not just that hurdle. It's also that hurdle in a good situation.
I feel like we're hitting a good stride evolutionally.
Yeah.
Evolutionarily.
Evolutionarily. But what Fermi said at one point was that the reason we don't see anybody is because they're all dead or prior to us in evolutionary terms. So there's some sort of limiting factor.
It also depends on a lot of things, like intelligent life, and I've thought about this about aliens since I was like a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I've always separated science fiction from like book learning, is because if there is aliens out there, what are the chances that they're humanoid in any way?
Well,
they could just be effervescent blobs that communicate with each other through some strange telekinesis, or what are the chances that we would ever even be able to communicate with this? And then like radiation's involved too. Like we find a peaceful creature, we don't know what it is, we touch it, and it gives us cancer because it radiated the shit out of us. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, what are the chances, first of all, that if there is these beings, that they are humanoid? To me, it almost seems like zero. and then you're also going through timelines. Like, what are the chances that they're out there while we're here in the vast history and future of the universe, and that they're humanoid, and everything else?
Well, if they're... Okay, so we'd have to either allow
they might not...
that we're first. Are we the first ones to reach the state, or they've been there? And if they've been there, they should have reached some sort of way to supersede, colonize the galaxy relatively quickly.
But here's the thing: is through our creation and through what we know about the elements that we have discovered,
right?
As carbon-based life forms, are these other sentient life forms composed the way that we are in any way, shape, or form? And the answer is probably not.
Yeah, even on Earth, there's life forms that live off of ammonia versus carbon-based, or oxygen. I mean,
that's why we need to get out there, because there's got to be... The periodic table of the elements can't be the makeup of the entire universe.
It's close. I mean,
there's got to be more.
We're discovering stuff. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's close. That's a really close-minded statement, but that's why scientists, they define life in a certain way. That way, you don't even have to, somebody looking for extraterrestrial intelligence doesn't even worry about that. That's not even a question on their mind, because they've defined life, because you have to have certain constraints. So life, as far as the search for life outside of our Earth, would be only things that we could recognize as life based on our life. So they're not looking for gas-based beings. They're not looking for anything like that.
They could be out there, though. That's the thing.
They could, but we can't be wasting our time doing all that. We would be here all day, We got to base our idea of life on a carbon-based organism that responds to stimulus, reproduces, seeks out food and nourishment and stuff like that. So if we do that and we constrain our definition of life, it's very likely that they would be maybe not humanoid, but close to something that we might recognize because of the limitations of how a carbon-based organism...
Yeah, but have you ever thought about that, though? It's like...
Oh, yeah.
We could have... These things could be,
well,
not carbon-based. Not...
Yeah, no, that's too much. That's for the fiction writers. Real scientists
I always try to
about
think
that.
about... I always, strain my mind trying to think about things that I can't even perceive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just go too deep into it. And then I just give up on it.
And then you just reach dead ends. Yeah. You're just like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, and I probably never, at least in my lifetime, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I never will know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I end up pushing that stuff by the wayside, but it could be gaseous beings that are sentient, that talk to each other through light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could throw anything. You could take some darts and just throw them at a dartboard, and that could be it. A gaseous being that communicates through light. A solid being that's partially sentient that communicates through gas. I don't know. You know what I mean? They communicate through smell. They might not even have the same senses as us. So it's like...
No, I definitely get that argument, because I've often thought, why... you can't even begin to think about it, because you have nothing to compare to. All the possibilities, you have nothing to compare it to.
Exactly.
So
that's why we got to keep looking.
Even begin to think about it.
That's why we just got to keep looking, and we're gonna make mistakes along the way. We may have
already found it. We may have already. There might be.
Could be microscopic. Then there's the idea of parallel universes, and then you know what I mean. It's too much. But as the most evolved species on our planet, the most sentient
Right.
species on our planet, it's our responsibility to go out there and find out and at least try to answer those questions, even if we never do.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
if you
I
can,
think so.
I believe if you can think of the question, you should at least be able to look for the answer.
Well, therein lies the problem. You can't even think of the question.
Yeah,
Based
but
on
I'm getting there is what I'm saying. Like,
right.
if I sat here for 10 years and thought about
You can
just
think
this,
of a... yeah.
I could come up with some kind of hypothesis,
Mm-hmm.
or, well, not hypothesis, but some kind of spectrum outside the idea of carbon-based life forms and everything else. Like, look what we've done in the
Right.
past 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Well, that's like...
I think that's our responsibility, and that's why learning is such a huge thing for us.
Yeah. That reminds me of when, Douglas Adams, right?
Yeah, of course.
You've read some of his stuff.
Yeah.
That's like, the answer to
It's a
the
singer
universe.
It's a singer
and
from
everything.
AC/DC, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
no, that's
said,
Brian Johnson.
dirty deeds.
Brian,
Dun,
no, that's Bon Scott. That's the original singer of AC/DC.
But no,
I'm talking
answer,
Back in Black is Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson. Yeah, well, I mean, debatable whether or not he's, who's the true lead singer of AC/DC.
I mean, Brian Johnson's been the lead singer a lot longer. Bon Scott was the original.
So no, like the answer to galaxy and everything is 42. You remember that from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Of course, and it's one of the funniest things ever because it could be. Because it's possible. It's literally possible.
Yeah, more
because the possibilities are endless.
Answer is the question, really.
My buddy once said, and me and another friend of mine always made fun of him for it. He was like, I mean, since numbers are infinite, anything could be a number. Cat could be a number. Dog could be a number.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. But the more I thought about it as I got older, I was like, this kid was right.
You're like laying in bed at night. Like, Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
I was wrong.
Yeah, that's interesting subject. We should probably try to touch on that a little more and revisit that at some point.
There's just so many things. And I think it really comes down to us living in what's at least theorized or semi-proven to be an ever-expanding universe, right? There's so many things that are infinite.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you can't calculate infinity, how can you answer these questions?
Right.
So, I say we just, as a species, we're sentient, we're here, we've conquered the planet.
We're here, we're queer, and we want to find aliens.
We just got to keep going. We just got to keep trying, keep moving forward. And every time I have a discussion like this, everything just seems so insignificant compared to the questions that I'm asking.
Yeah, I can.
But we also have to survive.
I feel
right?
that.
I mean,
we got to be here to figure it out.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like we got to be here to receive the call when they decide to call. I think
they could be calling us right now.
When the aliens come a knocking,
there could be carbon. Now I'm getting onto another thing because maybe they are carbon based.
Right.
Maybe they're 20,000. I don't know space measurement.
Mm-hmm.
So, but maybe they're like millions of light years away.
And
they're ringing us up right now.
Yeah.
But we're not receiving it because we don't have their frequency See, there's an infinite possibility. They are now there's the idea that they are carbon based, but their forms of communication have out advanced stars or under advanced stars, and they're sending signals to the Earth, but we're not getting them because we don't have anything to receive it.
Right. Well, that's like that calls back to like Star Trek, the first.
It's an even more simplistic idea it's an even more simplistic idea than our original idea of they could be any kind of life form. That's even simpler, but it's still like another of one of those infinite possibilities of they could be like somebody could be trying to communicate with us, but we're not getting it. You know what I mean? They could be telling us right now, "Yo, bro, there's a comet coming."
Yeah, there's a spider on your back.
Get the fuck out of there, dude. And we're just like, we are racist. We're gonna kill people that are different color than us. And then, boom, the whole planet explodes, and,
What if they sent, what would be that's a really sad thing, is if we got some sort of message, and we sent one back, let's say. Let's just say 100,000 years, for example.
Yeah.
Over the course of 100,000 years, we figure out a way to receive a message, send one back, and by the time all that gets done, the fucking space is so big, that civilization could be gone.
Yeah, but we need that. So we need it to move faster then. We need the rays or whatever, however we're beaming it out, to be instantaneous. We need instantaneous travel. Not instantaneous travel that humans can survive, but instantaneous travel for that energy or that beam or whatever it else is to survive.
Yeah, they just refer to that as just data. It's just any data.
It's just basically problem on problem on problem on problem on problem.
Right.
And then
our best bet is finding one in a close by galaxy.
And then there's a million more under it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We solved this issue, and now we got to go through literally tens of trillions more of those issues before we figure it out.
Or we just make one giant breakthrough where we just figure out how to instantaneously transfer data across vast distances in space, and it's like instantly everybody.
But even that within itself has.
We've been waiting on you.
Even that within itself has almost an infinite number of issues that you have to solve before you can.
Oh yeah.
You can make that happen.
Actually do it.
It's all about critical thinking. And it's not even about critical thinking. It's just about thinking in general.
Just call them up. Call the top men. Call them up and tell them. Just start thinking better. Get a hold of these guys. Tell them we want to chat.
But then, see, now, we have these kinds of thoughts, right?
Right.
But we're like 30-year-olds. Like, it's too late for us, man. Yeah. So we have to spread this kind of thought process from thinking actually outside your little circle that you live in to actually making it a little bit bigger. And
the internet.
Oh yeah, the internet, exactly.
Here we go.
Some of these questions that I have are probably answerable or have been answered.
Right.
Or at least been formed into a proper question.
Or at least,
But I haven't done enough research myself. That's another... Oh my god, this is getting deep now. That's another interesting question is... It's all about catch-up time. Obviously, someone has progressed past in intelligence where I am.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for me to surpass that, in order for any human being to surpass that, first you have to catch up to them, and then surpass them.
Right. Well, that's where the internet becomes interesting.
Yeah. Because
for the first time in the history of humankind, we have the ability to really catalog.
Yeah, but if you want to be, if you want to know everything about something,
you got to spend your whole life doing it.
Exactly. If you want to know everything about one thing, and maybe move further into that thing than other people have, you have to dedicate your entire life to it.
Right. Well, that's why most people think of humankind as just a progressive accumulation of knowledge. Like we started as cavemen, we gained knowledge of like fire, and we went through and we kept gaining knowledge, and we have all that knowledge right now. But what they don't realize is that there's dead ends and there's lost knowledge to time, and there's just like you're not an accumulation of all of mankind. You're an accumulation of a lot. But there's
but everybody has a limit because
right.
We're human.
Yeah. So with the internet and with robots and cyborg bodies, we might be able to do it,
Just if we could just replace our brains with their hyper powerful CPUs, we could calculate faster.
Right.
So what you're saying is that we need to. What you're saying is we need to upgrade ourselves through the use of machinery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's like a free upgrade. It's like a skipping levels, And the thing is, once we do that, realistically, we only need one. So we just put everything in.
All right. Pause.
You agree with me on what? On
Go
cyborg
ahead.
Bodies?
Go ahead, sir or madam or they. You could be a gaseous being for all I know.
I did at first.
You agreed at first, but feel a butt coming on. Okay.
Bruh,
he's a guy.
Dude. What did you agree with? The cyborg bodies?
He agreed with you at first, and there's a butt coming. Let's hear it.
I'm going to start like a multi-level marketing scheme with cyborg bodies. Are we still us if we are cyborgs?
It depends on how much you alter.
Cyborgs. We're definitely still us if we're cyborgs. But if we're full-on robots, yes, we're still us, I think.
I don't know, man.
I believe in
if you upload a consciousness,
some sort of soul.
If you upload a consciousness...
Yeah.
Yeah, our consciousness is us. But if you upload that consciousness and then it's altered by the machine that you uploaded it into, you are no longer you. Unless the machine is advanced enough to learn you and learn where you would go after that.
Well, clearly it would be. We're talking about cyborg bodies. But the thing is, I think there's a lot of stuff we don't even begin to understand. So let's consider a cyborg body. I believe that there's something that transcends our understanding.
Sorry, we're just going to have to talk about everything hypothetically.
Right.
Because I'm getting too far into this right now.
There's something, and I'm pointing to my head because I don't know, but there's something there, the essence. I don't think we could think these questions if there wasn't something beyond our understanding of the physical world. So I think even in a computer, our consciousness could be able to still exist.
Yeah, but the problem is, until we make the stride, right?
Right, we won't know.
Until we make that stride in technology to where a computer can build, repair, upgrade, and continue itself, it's up to us to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So until we make that technological stride, there's no reason to upload ourselves into it.
AI with a 3D computer. Yeah, AI with self-replicating abilities. Yeah, 3D printer. No, but the thing is, there's a lot of steps in between that.
A computer can sustain itself, and we could invent that, and it exists, and the idea of even further than that exists. But until it's actually learning
mm-hmm.
more than they can find, it's But then you're talking about something that's beyond humanity.
Well, I'm not talking about AI though. I'm not even talking about AI. That's the next step. We'll talk about that on the next episode. I'm talking about cyborgs, man. I'm talking about just like cybernetic organisms. We're the intelligence. We don't need artificial intelligence. We can have some artificial intelligence like systems within our cyborg bodies that regulate our organs or replace our organs through the function of things to keep our brains moving. But we're the intelligence.
Yeah, but your brain matter is still organic matter. Which means eventually it will probably
for a while.
fade.
For a while it'll have to be. Well,
and then there's also the theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
That if you live too long, you're just going to go insane.
Yeah, I don't believe that. We're just synapses occurring. Yeah, that Neuralink is crazy, though. I don't think that's not exactly the direction I want to go right away. Then go numb. Yeah, I don't think so. I think that your brain is already, we live longer than our brains even are supposed to function right now. You just forget certain things and you just drop unneeded resources as far as synapses, connections, and stuff like that.
So you're dropping frames in the brain.
You're just dropping frames. No, you're not dropping frames, but you're dropping old data files that you no longer access. So if you don't access it for, 3 decades or something, you pretty much drop it. Yeah. You reduce it. You zip file it.
It's still there though in your subconscious.
It's still there, but it's like, you don't need to access it. Yeah, it's definitely taken out of the RAM.
It would take a jolt to turn it back on, though. That's the thing.
Right. It's put into like an external hard drive somewhere, in a closet. Yeah, a little bit of grass.
Yeah, exactly.
Little overgrowth. You can still plow through it if you really need to, but it's not like your brain's constantly accessing it and needing to do it. So
yeah. Also, I was going to say you would also have to have a reason
insane. To stay alive forever.
No, you would need a reason to access that.
Oh yeah.
In order to access it, you would first need a necessity to do it.
Right.
Otherwise, why?
Or it's sitting on a bookshelf and like here's memory of like your first bike ride through the forest, and here's like memory of the smell of pine needles. So you like access this by accident, and then it kind of touches this and you're suddenly transported through that grass path to kind of remembering that feeling that you had when you first rode a bike.
That's interesting.
But I think it would be a lot before we go insane. Maybe we'll go insane as soon as the cyborg body boots up. Like, we know too much. Fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you give the human mind the ability to comprehend everything and go beyond that, how long is it before we lose actual humanity? Do we? We might not.
Well, we just quickly redefine it. That's all.
Yeah, then we just redefine.
Because we would know everything.
Actually, at that point, I don't think it would matter.
That's what I'm saying. We'd redefine it in the sense that humanity is just like whatever the fuck we want it to be. So we know everything.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at that point.
I believe in our lifetime, at least, we'll slow down aging in such a way that we maybe not us.
This is why you need to read Watchmen
right now.
This is why you need to read Watchmen, man. Because.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Manhattan, right? He's a human. He's a human being. But after his accident, and he just becomes molecules, and then. So he's just molecules basically floating around in the air.
Mm-hmm.
He figures out a way to actually reconstruct himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has memories of the past and his own. He's living in all these moments simultaneously, and he doesn't perceive time like a human being anymore.
Yeah.
At that point, he's no longer human, really. And then a little bit longer in that, and he just stops caring altogether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw him on the moon. That's what intrigues me on that. I don't really care for some of the other stuff, but then there's also the theory Moses's Bergen Nia said, I'm just going to butcher names. Egos, that's all we are. Are we? What if we connect to this Moses Virginia?
Moses?
Moses's.
Moses.
So, what if we're not just an ego? What if there's the ego, and then within our consciousness, or our consciousness is included in a collective unconsciousness?
No, don't.
Humanity. So then we become even more in tune with that, and then we're more connected.
Don't start with this. Don't start with this collective unconsciousness crap again, dude.
So maybe we already know everything there is to know.
I don't believe in that collective unconsciousness stuff.
Well, resistance is futile, so I don't really care.
I think right here, am a self-proclaimed organism. Exactly. We couldn't be a hive mind with individuality.
Mm-hmm.
I am a self-contained organism, right? My systems, my body, my circulatory system, all that stuff, my brain, and the way I perceive things are me.
Right.
Same with you.
What I'm saying,
the way that you perceive things and the way are you.
The way you perceive, sure. But okay, have you ever been afraid of the dark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still kind of afraid of the dark.
I'm terrified of the fucking dark, man. So have you
it's
ever
the unknown.
Thought that there was, let's not even put a name on it. I was going to say creature, but let's just have you ever thought there's something in the dark? Like that's why you're afraid of the dark, because there's something in the dark.
Yeah, even though rationally, you could stand up and move your hand around, there's nothing there.
Right. So what is it that makes, that's almost universal. Babies are afraid of the dark. People in other countries that have never been.
It's not a collective unconsciousness. It's primal instinct to be able to see and smell and hear the things around you, to take in your environment so that it's survival.
Yeah. Right. So some would say it's instinctual, but what is instincts? Where is that written down? Where is it? It's written in our DNA to be afraid of the dark because a predator might kill us?
It's a fight or flight response.
Right, but why do we choose to fight or flight? We have no reason these days. The majority of humans don't have a reason to be afraid of the dark just because it's dark.
Because life has a instinctual need to continue to survive.
Right, but there's nothing particular about the dark that threatens our survival.
Yeah, there is.
Instinct.
There is something about the dark that threatens our survival.
Yeah.
We have no way to fathom what's there.
Right.
Because we can't see and we can't hear anything there.
And I'm thinking, and I don't even know if I believe this, I just like to argue, but I think that potentially that thing in the dark is something that's either okay, maybe it's not a collective subconscious. Some people have a problem calling it that, but maybe it's written in our DNA somewhere in a long off strain that we saw, our great ancestors saw their little sister get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger in the dark. So now we are afraid of the dark. We share this unsaid
It's just a survival instinct.
Yeah, but why?
You're afraid of the dark the same way you're afraid to jump out of an airplane.
Okay, so why aren't some animals afraid of the dark? Some animals show no fear to the dark.
Because they can perceive through the dark. Because they evolved.
Not only that. Nah, not only that.
I think so. I think that's it.
What about blind animals that can't see anything?
Well, they were born like that. And it's scientifically proven that when you're blind, your other senses are hypersensitive. You learn to navigate through hearing, smell, taste, feel.
Mm-hmm. Baby needs a connection. They have other senses like humans feel the need to find purpose. There's a purpose to us. We just are another. Yeah, and I think I think beyond needing a purpose
And
and
that's
having
that's the problem with being sentient. Is you're always you're always gonna want more than you have. You're always gonna want an explanation. That's why we just keep asking the questions. We have to.
Right.
It's our prime directive to keep asking questions.
Yeah. Mosias Virginia says, there isn't purpose to us. We are just another animal on a planet with egos who can talk. Well,
yeah, I mean, we could be vaporized tomorrow, and it's not going to change really anything in the scale of the universe. But
or
on a small scale, it is.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's a good point. The larger you get, the more insignificant we are. But on a small scale, like our individual daily lives, we can find purpose in that. Like maybe your purpose is to help, hungry children in Haiti or something. Is that not a purpose? Is that not a purpose to life? It matters to you. You might feel like it's your purpose.
Here's one.
All right, what do you got?
If you can't understand, well, not that you can't understand, but if you're arguing the point that there's, like, asking me, sorry, I'm lost. If you're asking me why we're afraid of the dark, I could ask you why we want to help people that are less fortunate than ourselves.
Right.
Why?
Because of empathy.
Yeah, but what is empathy?
Really?
Chemical with some electricity going through it?
Mm-hmm. It's part of. It's funny that I was just arguing collective unconsciousness because I think that most of my opinions aren't my opinions. They're just the thoughts that I have, and I can think the other way too because we just have empathy because it was beneficial to our evolution.
And I think it also reacts with our emotional response, which is still just chemicals and lightning.
Yeah, and Mossy Sass Virgin says because humans are selfish, and I could definitely see that because by having empathy, what empathy is being able to basically imagine what that person feels like, and by helping them, you're helping yourself. You're putting yourself in their shoes,
but
and then
I feel like it's also
them.
It's also kind of about sustaining the human population. It could be an instinctual act to try to help sustain the human population so that we don't go extinct.
Right. And even further back, it's to just sustain your tribe's DNA, basically, to make sure that your genes are passed on by protecting the people.
It's a survival instinct, but I feel like survival instinct is also intertwined with an instinct to leave a legacy.
Yeah. Chad says because I'm selfish and really like making people smile, so like fuck everyone who doesn't like that shit, I'm gonna pass those genes on. Making people smile is good. It is, man. It's like one of the best things ever.
It's because we want to feel good.
Yeah.
But
it is.
Okay, back to the cyborg thing now.
Mm-hmm. Does a cyborg care if you feel good?
Not even the cyborg thing. The other thing that I was talking about, where we upload our consciousness into a machine, it's self-learning, and then it furthers quote-unquote humanity into the next phase.
Right.
Will we have empathy at that point? Will you see a machine and say, I need to stop that machine from ending its cycle so that we can continue?
See, when you talk about going full robot, you really can't ever go full robot because when you go full robot, there's no point.
Yeah, but what if you program? Well, there is because full robot. There is because somewhere, if you upload your consciousness into something, right? and it's running off of this power source. Way down somewhere, there's a way to kill that consciousness. There has to be, does there not?
Yeah, but why would that consciousness care if it was ended? Now, if you're talking about the robot,
because it would care. Okay, hold on. It would care because.
So is it life or is it a robot?
The consciousness would care because we're uploading human consciousness into becoming that in a very technologically advanced machine that we made. It has to care, or else what's going to sustain it?
It would remember that it cared, chat says, and I think that we're already on the precipice of realizing that we don't care. I mean, look at today's youth. They just would rather yeet themselves off a bridge than, study biology.
Is that so? I mean, we could go extinct because of that.
We definitely could. Just becoming completely stagnant.
People say that we're destroying ourselves, but I mean, we've been destroying ourselves since our inception, so...
No, but I think if you go full robot, I could see... Okay, so I could argue the other point than what I just said 2 seconds ago.
Oh, no, it definitely wouldn't be the same empathy. But we would need that to exist, or else we wouldn't be able to continue down the path that we had started.
Right.
And then we made a grave mistake, but we don't realize we made a grave mistake, and then we're wiped out. So, through our own ego, we had an extinction event.
Right. I don't know. I think what if a robot just saw another robot in trouble and thought this robot may, at one point, need to save me, so I should save it?
It's still a survival instinct, though. What if we do all these calculations and we think we got it figured out and we upload ourselves into that, and the biological human race is gone, and then these uploaded consciousnesses go through their functionality and everything, and they go through their programming all in like a millisecond or less, of course, because they're this insanely powerful processing unit, and decide
that's what robots do,
and decide that we, because we're no longer we, but we're also we. We don't need to exist because it was all ego the whole time. And then they just shut themselves down.
They're started up and they immediately just shut down.
Yeah.
That's.
If they do the calculation of this was only human ego. This doesn't need to exist. We don't need to be doing this. There's no necessity to this, and we just shut ourselves down right there.
Yeah, that's been talked about in the robot series.
I'm sure it has.
No, but that's a good point. Like, it's just immediate. Like, we keep building these computers. We keep reaching this precipice of computer engineering, AI development, and every time we get to this thing, it just shuts down and we think we can't get it. But really, it's working. And in less time than we can perceive, it shuts itself down. Maybe we've developed AI over and over again over the past decade.
And it just becomes self-aware and immediately just terminates. And we can't read it in the process because there's no data for it. It doesn't
need the data.
It doesn't need to have us comprehend. And it realizes in that time, hey, I don't need these humans to comprehend what I'm doing because it's not going to matter anyway. They're going to keep doing these futile efforts. They're going to keep trying to do this. And it's just, it just shuts itself down. And they're like, oh, and it just says error code 404.
Right. That's why we get those, actually. That's just AI becoming self-aware and then shutting down immediately. That's touched in The Day the Earth Stood Still, too. You ever seen that movie? The old one in the 50s?
No.
It's a good one. Alien life form or some sort of robot just comes to
Seen The
Earth
Day After
and
Tomorrow. You seen that?
Oh, yeah. You kidding me? That was the best shitty CGI I've ever seen in my life.
I know.
Um, I'm becoming more of a fan of post-apocalyptic. It used to be futuristic dystopian, like almost exclusively, but we got to get there somehow. So like
there's
immediate
stepping stones to
post-apocalyptic.
that.
Yeah, I'm discovering that I really like that actually.
We are in Florida, in the United States of America, the greatest damn country on the planet.
That's right. Best option we got.
It's like capitalism. Hey, it doesn't work that well, but it works better than any other alternative. So let's go with it, I guess.
Life here right now is completely normal, which involves alligators walking on the street.
Yeah.
Hurricanes just fucking busting in the door every couple of seconds.
Sentient
everything's normal. Like about half the people have masks on, and nobody cares about anything. It's just normal Florida.
Pretty much.
They are planning some protests here, though.
Well, everyone in the USA is either peaceful protesting or rioting. No, we've had protests here.
Or still quarantining.
Like they should be.
Listen, I saw in the News Journal the other day, which is our local newspaper.
The Great White North.
It said
Buffalo, New York, right? That's the Great White North, isn't it?
Hasn't come out since the last blizzard. Yeah.
Oh, so you are in Buffalo.
When summer thaws you out.
Yeah, you'll find out.
You'll
see. A lot has happened.
It's not going too well down here.
Yeah, but
oof.
Yeah, we have.
So we don't get the protests. Do you have any protests?
We have protesters here. We haven't really had any violent riots like they have in the bigger cities and things like that. There's been a couple pretty serious protests in Orlando, but they were all peaceful.
Are you still streaming?
And I think they learned by example. And people are learning by example as we go. And now you're starting to see these pictures of National Guard setting their shields down and kneeling with the protesters that were not getting anywhere.
Are you still streaming?
No. I don't know. Every time this happens, I feel like this could be the time everyone gets just completely fucked. But it hasn't happened yet,
I mean, that's true. But not always.
I worry that it's not cumulative, though. I worry that every time this happens, like I was saying earlier, that we kind of forget, and I'm guilty of it too.
We just go through another cycle of it.
Yeah, because like, why don't we accumulate this rage? And like, every time it happens, it gets worse and worse.
No, He says we're fearing the Civil War for you guys, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at history, this is kind of how it starts.
If we listen,
when people get angry enough, they tend to plot coups.
Yeah.
Do we need to come burn down the house again? Maybe.
You can come try.
Yeah, you can come try.
Hold on. You know what he's talking about there? You know when they burned down the White House?
Yeah, it was before it was in D.C., right?
Nope, it was in D.C. It was in
or no, somebody else burned the White House down before it was in D.C.
Yeah, it was the War of 1812.
White House has been burned down a couple of times.
Yeah, but the one you're talking about is
when they moved it and they reestablished it.
Well, it was in Philadelphia. I mean, yeah. The capital was Philadelphia.
They moved the nation's capital because the whole place got burned down.
But the War of 1812, they came in and they, like, I love when people say, these American diehards. I like America. I love America, and it's the best country for me. But they say like, oh well, America's the best. We've never been beaten in a war. We've never had an attack. Or they say September 11th was the worst attack on U.S. soil. Yeah, it was bad, and a lot of people died, and it was horrible. But the Brits burned down the White House. It's pretty intense. I mean, nobody was in it, I don't think, but A lot of people got wounded.
You know what I think it is, and I think everybody's so hesitant to do a land invasion of America, and they think it's because of our technology, and they think it's because of our military budget, and they think it's because of our civilian right to bear arms, and that they'd be fighting the military and the people and everything else.
Yeah.
It is all those things, but you know the biggest reason?
Because we're a fucking island, basically.
Our country is so fucking big, dude.
It's huge, and we're surrounded by water. And despite what you think, Canada, some of the best damn allies the world has ever seen. You know, we've got backing. Like, we would have to go to war with
Exactly.
Canada.
We're not going to walk into Russia.
John Candy would have to march across the border for anything for me to get scared.
We're not just going to walk into Russia, like you said. But, like, Italy, you know what I mean? Pretty small country. You just kind of occupy it and call it a day, you know?
Yeah. You just land on the boot, work your way up. Happened before. We did pretty good. Italy, like, crumbled, dude. We pushed up Italy like nobody's business. Well, not us. Not just us. There were some Canadians there, too.
Well, yeah. I mean...
And we spend trillions of dollars on new guns every year.
Yeah, that's what I said. Military budget, technology, you know.
Yeah.
But, like, Japan? Like, yeah, they got some good technology, but, like, pretty small little group of islands there, you know?
Yeah.
Not too hard to surround them. Not too hard to surround them.
No, but they're very hard to invade right now. You know why? Because we're fucking there. You don't fuck with them.
So what if somebody teamed up with, like, Mexico and Canada and, like, the whole world just ganged up against us? They could invade America if they wanted to.
They could, but they wouldn't. I mean, look at what's happening right now. I mean, look how quickly we can fucking send out troops, quell our own citizens. What do you think we're going to do if a couple Canadians come waltzing across the border?
Not to mention, most of us have handguns and lockboxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We all have AR-15s. We sleep with AR-15s and have handguns under our pillows.
Oh, that reminds me, dude. I need to replace the leather padding of my AR-15. It's starting to hurt my neck while I'm sleeping, dude.
I'm getting chapped in between my thighs.
Yeah. I sleep with it in between my legs. It's comfortable. Also, the safety's kind of strange on it, and I keep hitting it with my knee while I'm sleeping. I'm kind of afraid I'm going to blow my face off.
Happens, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the price of living in the land of the free and the home of the brave. You know?
That's right. We have to.
Sometimes you blow your face off while you're sleeping. You
know? We'd run out of sled dogs and fresh ice block. I'm going to tell you, something that few Canadians actually know. When you hit that border, the sleds stop dead. Snow runs out. They can't go any further.
No, you can go down like through Maine.
You can hit Maine. Yeah, you can take Maine. You can have it.
You can go down through Maine and like through upstate New York and stuff, but by the time you get to like the Carolinas, like you're not moving anymore. You're not
coming to get to the deep south.
You ain't getting to us. You know what I'm saying?
No, it'd be interesting to see
not this peninsula.
The degradation of America to the degree where somebody could invade us and take over. I mean, you really can't invade anywhere anymore. I think the only place people are invading places are like third world countries.
Yeah, and even if it's an invasion, like it's not a land invasion, like it's first we drone strike and then we occupy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's right. Chat's right. You can't take over anymore. We really missed I sometimes think I missed my calling because it's super hard to take large swaths of land. You used to be able to just get on a couple horses and ride across the steppes of Asia and just conquer half of it.
We could have been here for the frontiers. going out west.
Yeah. I know.
If we didn't die
But
of sepsis or dysentery, we would, you know.
You always die of dysentery. That's a problem.
Yeah. Covered wagon rolls up. It's got a crank Gatling gun in the back. You're done. That's it.
Dude, Amber was reading a really cool sounding book. It was like the first hand account of a woman who was on a wagon that got captured by Indians. She got taken captive by Indians for like, I don't know, a couple of years. I haven't checked in with her on how the progress is going, but it was pretty intense. They just came in, they killed all the dudes, stole the women, rode out of there. They were in a covered wagon and shit.
And then, like, provided for them and took care of them for the rest of their lives.
No, I'm pretty sure they were slaves. But, you know.
That'd be
Could've
sweet,
gone
though,
either
wouldn't
way.
it? That'd be cool, though. Come in, slaughter all the men. They're like, we did you a favor.
Yeah. Yeah, there are accounts of, like, them taking in white people and just, they become part of the tribe, you know? Thing is, it's universal. Once
Depends on how high. It depends on how much peyote you can smoke before you throw up.
Right. No, it really depends on just once somebody falls in love, I don't care who you are, it's over. You're going to be wearing a headdress and sleeping in a tent. You don't care. If you're in love, you know?
Do some crazy shit. Yeah,
there are shit people everywhere.
Because one Indian would be like trying to communicate with you through like hand signals because you guys don't speak the same language, and the other one would just be like tomahawking your face in.
Yeah. Yeah, and even then, it's like, are they shit people at that point, or are they kind of pissed off because you seem to be taking over all their land? You know?
Yeah, it could go either way. Probably because we're taking their land.
I think maybe that had something to do with it. All right, so
I
know it's almost time because I have to pee like a racehorse.
Oh yeah, we're going on 2 hours 2 minutes.
2 hours 2 minutes.
That's gonna be the show for the night.
Whoa.
Mosias Virginia.
You're a freaking dingus.
Yeah, thanks for stopping
Welcome
by.
to the Dingus Den. Thanks for the follow. You ever want to stop back by? We do this at Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Doesn't always get this deep. Sometimes we talk about nerdy shit, Star Wars news, like, I don't know. Sometimes we
kind of went the other direction.
I mean, we didn't have any topics today. So when we don't have topics, we sort of
talk out our ass.
Start wondering and wandering, as they say. But that's going to be the show. Thanks for all the follows tonight. Thanks for the donos, the bits, all that good stuff. We will see you guys next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully we're not late again. We got stuck in a World of Warcraft dungeon.
We will be.
We might be. Valorant is back, so... But, we're putting all these on the YouTube. I'll put a link on the channel pretty soon. We only have, like, one episode on there right now, so... This is episode 13, so we've almost been doing this for 14 weeks. And then next week, I will say that we've almost been doing this for 15 weeks. Yeah. That's pretty much it. 3 months. 3 months we've been doing this, man.
Feels like so much longer.
Yeah, 2 hours a week. All right, you guys. Well, everybody have a good night. That's going to be the show. Live long, prosper, and may the force be with you. All that good stuff. And I'm going to send you out tonight with some Billy Strings. This is a song called...
Current Obsession.
It's a song. It's different every week. It could be like Korean EDM. It could be like bluegrass. This is the same song that I played in the intro, but nobody was here to watch it, so I'm going to play it again. And, yeah. This is Dust in a Baggie. Later, guys. Good night.